By a show of hands, who in this room has got a valid will? Will. Okay. Okay. Do you know that in South Africa, there's only about 15% of people that have wills in South Africa as we speak? So South Africa right now, we're sitting with close to 60 million people. So only 15% of those people or less have got valid wills. So which means 85% of the people in South Africa don't have wills. And do you know that in South Africa, only 5% or less, they've got an inheritance to leave for their children? 5% or less. So, which means majority of us, for our kids, we live in foko. We live in debt. We live in problems. And most of us are born in the very same problems that we are leaving our children. So my biggest blunder was putting my eggs in one basket. That was my biggest blunder. So, but before I get there, like they said, what I do business turnarounds. So companies that are struggling with their businesses, they call me to help them turn around their business. So, and besides that, I'm a business rescue practitioner. So it means companies that are financially distressed. So whenever they are in financial trouble, whoever that has given you money sources me out to come into your business, you see. Sometimes I fire directors. Sometimes I fire staff and cancel contracts and bring the affairs in order. So the key thing that I do is to save the business, not the company. So it means if it means breaking down that business into pieces, or even selling those assets, it's exactly what I'm going to do. So what else I do is I help people build financial freedom through investing in property or building a legacy for their children, so that we don't become the 85%, but we become part of the 15%. Because the reality is we're living in a world where we need to live a legacy. We're living in a world where we need to plan our lives. I always say if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So it's one of the things that I do. So in my main business, I buy and grow businesses. So I run a private equity fund called Nono Capital. So in Nono Capital, we invest in businesses. So not only that do we help, because sometimes we've realized to say in terms of trying to turn around these businesses, they've got financial problems. So then how can we better grow these businesses? So then in another life, I get paid to be on board of directors, you see, to tell you what I think about your business. So so I'm in the board of directors for a couple of companies, both public and private. So besides the businesses that we invest in, that's me in the nutshell. So why did I particularly choose that my blunder was putting my eggs in one basket? I've realized it's something that we usually do as people. We put our eggs in one basket. So let me take you back. I come from the dusty streets of Whiteville, Benoni. Grew up very poor, impoverished. Went to a black primary school, went to a black high school. That's why I got it somewhere along the way, you see. So I grew up in an informal settlement, what we would call Mkukung. So I had a dream, and my dream was to build my mother a house. Because the situation was so bad at home, it was so dire, so there was no way that this woman would have had a house if I wasn't going to be the one that tried to change that. But little did I know that fast forward later, I'll be in a position to give thousands or build thousands houses. So I happened, unfortunately, to have had the situation go dire and dire. I had to drop out of grade 11 and go work. So now part of working, I tried to work, with my friends. Others, they would try to, I think the closest job that I could get was at the petrol station, a BP petrol station in Actonville there. I was a petrol attendant during school holidays. But I couldn't get a job, ShopRite. I remember I even went to your Panarottis, to your spares, Bamfadi menu, trying to write a test. I know those things, killed me. I failed dismally. And little did I know that it was not God's plan for my life for me to actually start there. So fast forward later, I applied for a job in an IT business because I'm a self-taught IT guru from the comfort of my home. So I learned how to cut computers and fix computers from a book. So I was given a job. They asked me to say, so can you fix computers? And when they started talking the jargon, it was too much for me. I was honest, like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, but give me a computer to fix, to put together, then I'll do. So they gave me that. I got experience. Fast forward, months later, the company gets bought by a company called America Online. So they're taking technicians abroad. So I couldn't qualify to go because I was a high school dropout. I didn't have matric. So went back to the township. So when parents have you must go to school, you end up like him. So the late Mama Adelaide time was starting development centers. I got the opportunity to work in there. I became an IT trainer manager. So fast forward years later, now I'm in business. So I've started now this company with a friend. My name is Tebogo Nthoana. So we're TNT IT Solutions. So now whenever I go work, so when we need to go access the money, Yana is nowhere to be found because he was not the one working. Yana had a job. So now up until I met a man that would change my life, who taught me business. So then from there we met, I was approaching this client. This client said, we're looking for a website. Can you do websites? I said, I didn't even know a thing. So I phoned these guys. I had listened to radio. So these guys were being interviewed. Managed to get hold of them and told them I've got a client and I want them to come with. And they took me along. So when we come back from this client, this guy says to me, dude, you're a one-man show. As a one-man show, why come to a big business like us and you want us to do a bit of work for you, So I was like, no, because I believe that you guys are the best. And for you to, I believe for you to be the best, you need to be surrounded with the best, right? So he respected me and he said to me, what do you want to be or what do you want to do? What's your dream? I said, my dream is to be a millionaire by the age of 35. He said, your dream is to be what? I said, a millionaire by the age of 35. At that time, I think I was 21. So he says to me, why do you want to be a millionaire then when you could be a millionaire now? Coming from the township, we don't talk like that, guys. Tell me, do you know somebody from the township that talks like that? So this guy agreed to put me under his wing and mentor me. I became his driver. From his driver, I became his receptionist. From his receptionist, I became a project manager. Needless to say, a few years, almost 2 years down the line, I was a director in his business. So, and now, I was rolling in millions. So, and at the time, I think I made my first million at 23 years of age. So, Lebogang, you're a guy. So, girls are throwing themselves, you throw yourself, So now you start driving beautiful cars and you start living and forgetting this one thing that got you where you want to be, or that got you there. So it's really something that I've realized that was a blunder. But now, why did I choose a blunder that I put my eggs in one basket? It's because what happened is a lot of people, remember we started off in the IT space, so a lot of people mistaken us because we got into the digital industry. At the time, the digital industry was very white dominant. So now we're part of the few black guys that are trending or taking brands to social media. So at the time, we even used paper headlines, Mzansi's young top entrepreneurs and the likes. So now people mistaken us for a marketing company. So they asked, are you a marketing company? I didn't say, I'm not. I said, So they gave us a marketing job. So we did some marketing for them. Obviously, we were doing designs and whatsoever. So we did some marketing for them. Then another one mistaking us for an events company. It's like, we're having an events. Are you an events company? We said, So they gave us an events company. Then from there, we started doing the events company. So now we're really growing. We're doing all of these things. But now, the mistake that was happening, that in the midst of me doing all of this business, so now we got an opportunity to do business with government. So we did business with government. So now we're doing all of these things now under this business. So now we are a whatever net worth business. We're doing so and so. We're doing this and this and that. And now we became almost like a group of companies, but within one business. So all of that when was happening, so now we became part of the presidential business delegation. Whenever they go abroad, they take, business people that are doing well, right? So I was one of those, so I'd get taken. So now we met this businessman coming from Israel, who told me to say, you know what, you're so good at what you do. We want to do business with you. I was like, sure, let's go for it. So now we did business with this guy. At the time, we wanted to become the coral break of alternative technology. So then we imported technology that was coming from Australia, brought it to South Africa. South Africa, total different market. They do not understand the English that we're talking because there's become too much English right now, So now we want to introduce alternative energy. We built, the country's biggest biogas power plant, So we're doing all of these exciting stuff. So now money was starting to come in. So now my business partner, because he was a business partner. So now when it comes to then, I had to give him access to accounts and whatsoever. So then from the one night I slept. And when I woke up, there was minus couple of millions, in my account. So now we need to be servicing the client. Remember, this guy is a foreigner. So he's coming from Israel, so he's trading through me. So now guess who's in debt? Me. And guess who's in trouble? Me. So because the country knows who? Me. Do you understand? So now, in all of that, imagine now this business was growing. I think now at some point we're controlling about 149 employees. 3 offices. We've got an office in London, we've got an office in the US. And let me tell you, I was in debt. So, So I went insane. I almost went cuckoo. So, that was my blunder, that I had my eggs in one basket. And you've realized that if ever I had built or divided all of these businesses, it would have only been that business that got affected. But because everything was in this one business that we're doing, then from there it found me in trouble. Or it got me in trouble. So in such a way that it got so bad that I think 2015 we started losing some of the contracts one by one. And guess what? The part of our biggest procurer at the time was government. So guess what? Political change. So everyone else that is coming with his own people. So we started falling off, Then now, the very same year, we're starting married. So now I'm neglecting my marriage. I'm focusing on this thing that I'm trying to rescue and resuscitate. And started a nasty divorce battle. So which on its own started as well coming in. Started messing up opportunities one by one, So then from there, 2018, my divorce got finalized. 2019, my business partner, who also happens to be my mother, dies. So now, guess what? Some of the stuff that I was building and collecting, as obviously in the business, because she was my partner, it was through her. And some of the stuff that, guess what? Now part of our estate goes into what? Deceased estate. God, you don't like me, dude. So while you're dealing with that, then guess what? COVID hits in America first before it hits in South Africa. The same 2019 October, COVID, what Donald Trump starts changing immigration laws. And 2, COVID hits America, COVID hits UK. Those offices need to close. I'm busy dealing with deceased estate this side, and this side things are happening. Then came 2020, country shuts down, boom. Last nail on the coffin. You know these Nigerian guys, or the funeral, the one that carry I saw them, I promise I saw them. So, I got depression, I got angry, stopped social media, stopped living. And I had issues with God. To say, but God, how do you? You know? So, and now, when country started, then there was watching every documentary on Netflix, every movie on Netflix and whatsoever. And now, something hit me. To say 2 things are going to happen when this COVID ends. It's either you're going to come out with nothing, or you're going to come out with something. Choose which one you want to be. So, and I had to make a choice to say, switch off the Netflix, let me get to work. You know, decided to go back to school. Remember, I was still a dropout. So decided to go back to school and reestablish myself, reinvent myself. And now when I was reinventing myself and getting myself equipped, I've realized that I was doing so many things wrong. I started identifying my mistakes to say sometimes we blame God for things that they've got nothing to do with Him. So I started realizing to say, if ever I had understood the importance of corporate governance, to say, you know, you set up a business, you protect your assets, you know, or you set up your business and you separate your businesses, you know. These are the things that I wish I had known and had understood. And I think that one of the greatest things that I decided to do for myself is to get or attend therapy and get a life coach. You know, and I realized to say, yeah, I am to be blamed. So, and now I could learn and perhaps do it better. So I decided to get myself empowered and start again. So I'm proud that I'm speaking to you today, that I've completed now my master's, and I've applied to do my PhD. I thought it wouldn't be a bad idea to be Dr. T, right? So, and additionally to that is I'm buying amazing businesses. I mean, one of the businesses that I've bought, we officially opened last year, April. And we now, just over a year this April. And it was a shock within a year. I mean, we're running well over 80 million annual turnover, you know, just on the one business, you see. So, yeah, I thought so, hey? So now I realized to say, you know when the Bible says, study and show yourself approved? Guys, that is so true. School is not about going to school and getting formal education. There's so much information online. Do you understand? So it's information that you need to get yourself empowered. You know, there's so many coaches that are specializing in their craft or in whatever area of speciality. So it's not really about school, but it's about what are you willing to do to get really yourself empowered. And I think the most fulfilling thing about it has been now being in a position to help others better their situation. Being in a position to understand, to say, we're sitting with the most greatest thing. How many people are employed here? That are employed. Okay. So then how many people have got a payslip? Okay. So right now I've realized to say, you know that payslip, it's one of the most greatest assets that you could use in South Africa. I was listening to people coming here, hey, you're starting business on debt and whatever. Like right now, I've learned to say, guys, there's good debt. There's good debt, there's bad debt. You know, our white counterparts make wealth out of debt. And now we use debt to collect liabilities. There's what we call fixed costs. Fixed costs are costs that your business pays whether your business makes money or not. So right now, it's when I understood starting these things to say, one, if you've got a payslip, you've got something to kickstart on. If you do not have a payslip, you can speak, you can connect with people. And for me, I believe if you're living in this world, you've got a computer, you've got internet, and you can talk. All right, guys, you broke by choice. You broke by choice. So right now, I find myself now, I'm in a business that helps people build wealth. I'm in a business that helps people build assets for themselves. You know, let's not only build cars, then let's build houses. Do you understand? And right now, you might say, no, but I'm unemployed or I do not have income. How can I get into property? Do you know that you can sit on Property 24 or private properties and look and search for, you can even search for the property that you'll be surprised that they does that turning, what's this, even your Gumtree, you know, there's the website that has been disconnected. You'll be surprised you can find even properties as cheap as 50,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, wherever. Do you understand? So, and the beauty about property is that you're able to maximize it. So, and for you to be able to make profit. And right now you can find deals and sell deals to people like me that I invest. Sometimes I do not have time to sit and look for deals. You can sit down and look for a deal to say, right now, I've seen a property in Soshanguve, it's going for 250,000. The size of the land, it's so much, whatever. So you're able to maximize this is what, how much, or this, the potential that this property has. Are you interested in the deal? This morning I was talking to someone that found a deal on an auction last week, Friday. Bought the deal on an auction for 450,000. Guess what? He's selling to me for 700,000. So by virtue of that, this person is already making just over 200,000 profit. And guess what? They've got no cent in their name. So you realize to say it's information. And right now, it's information that half of the time we do not know. Right now, we think of, when I speak of asset protection, I mean, right now, there's what we call trust. Officially now, this year, or as of December, the only thing I'm owning in my name, I think, is my cell phone. I don't own everything else, but I control everything else. I wake up in the morning, I choose, what am I driving today? I'm a beneficiary. Do you understand? So, and right now, someone would sit or would hear me thinking that and be thinking, this is for the wealthy. And it's not. Do you know that you could set up a family trust in your name that could ensure you that you do not insure yourself? That anything happens to you, the life cover pays into your thingy, then automatically your kids have got a kickstart. Because reality is, guys, people die, you like it or not. Do you understand? So there's all of these misconceptions that are out there. And for me, then when I started now seeking information, I started understood to say there is so much that is right here that as people we do not see and we do not know. So therefore, I've taken it upon myself to go to people, teach people about some of these things. You know, I've got people in our tribe that had no payslip, had nothing. They didn't even have a place to stay. And today, they put food on the table. They've got roof over their heads. Do you understand? So, and these are some of the things that I am up to now and that are part of my plan. So as I sit down, the things that I learned is, do not be everything to everyone. Seek an area of speciality. One thing that I started learning is because I was so much everything to everyone. I was in IT to this one, I was in events to this one, I was whatever. I didn't have an area of speciality. Hence, right now, even at the time of having to invoice, I couldn't invoice just like someone who has an area of speciality. Do you understand? And that's why I've seen the value to say what you specialize in. That's why right now you go to any business or any property development, they say, give us company profile. What do you do? I do painting, I do cleaning, I do this, I do that. Half of the time you'd see they do not give you an opportunity. Because right now it means you master nothing. That's why they say if you do not stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. Yeah. So it's important to say right now, how do you want to be known out there? You can do all of these things, but what is your specialty? What are you known as? So it's really something that I've seen that is important. And the second lesson that I got is that business and money is spiritual. Let me repeat that. Business and money is spiritual. Those two things go hand in hand. You cannot separate them. Let me make an example. Who you decide to share your bed with, whether you're dating, whether you're married, whether whatever, can either make you or break you. Let me repeat that. Who you decide to share your bed with can either make you or break you. Do you know there's people that are sitting in the township, there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They've got amazing businesses, amazing ideas and whatsoever. But the only struggle that they're having, it's because they slept with the wrong person. So, Rona Machida, we love being superstars. And sometimes we are our own downfall. The second thing I've realized to say, it's important who you do business with. That can either make you or break you. Because when you could be going home and praying and say, God bless this business. Yena unta jampa ditswin. Do you understand? Or let alone your business principles are not even the same. There's something powerful that Lebo said. To say, I didn't want to be any other business at Richville. I've learned something that I always say to my employees. I don't want to be a business for black people. I want to be a business for everyone. And across different religions. So it's important if you're going to become in a business partnership that the person that you're in business with speaks what you speak. And lastly, it's important who speaks over your life. Whether being your pastor, whether being your mentor, whether being your coach, it's important who speaks over your life. That can either make you or break you. So you've got guys like Zimbabwe's richest man, Strive Masiwa, that have cancelled contracts and walk away from Nigeria because he refused to pay a bribe. There's a lot of people that I could count that are doing business ethically. And with me, what I realized when I sat down and I looked back to say every contract that I ever got that I had to pay a bribe, two things happen. Is either that contract go exorbitant in cost or I lose, but something goes wrong. So I've realized to say there's other things that other people could do, but that if I were to do them, things go. So it's important to know and understand self. So therefore, invest in your spirituality. So the third lesson is it's important to structure your affairs. When you leave here, please go put together a will, guys. It's free. Every law firm is supposed to give you a free will every year. So know to say, should anything happen to you, what is going to happen to that leather jacket? What's going to happen to that watch? What's going to happen to your kids? Do you understand? Because sometimes we do not plan these things, we leave them to chance, but guys, none of us is coming out of this alive. So put your affairs in order. Yeah? And two, leave your kids in a better situation than you were. Just because when they left you nothing doesn't mean you need to leave them nothing. Guys, it's nice to have passive income. There's what we call a financial freedom number. So it's something that you must have to say, if ever, every month you were to survive, how much would be enough to get you to survive? They take out bills, take out whatever, your basic. Others, it could be 5,000. Others, it could be 15,000. Others, it could be 20,000. Chase to say then, how can you make your financial freedom number a passive number? So that if wherever money comes through, or if money doesn't come, at least you can still survive. Guys, I buy properties for 100,000. And that property gives me 300,000 a year. I buy properties for 400,000. That property gives me 50,000 a month. And you multiply that by 6, that's 640,000. So reality is we're sleeping on ourselves. Based from the how or other families are doing things for their kids, or God, whatever. So, and only to find out we are to be blamed. Do you understand? So, and as I sit down, the question that I want to ask you is, what problem are you solving?